Hey. All right. Getting the hoop. Back in the hoop stand. Ugh. Hi, friends. Okay. I took this out of the hoop stand so that I could stitch yesterday. There we go. Okay. Let's do our sunflower today. It is freezing in Utah. It snowed again. So anyways, it's funny at this point. Like April is on Saturday and it's fine. It's fine. Okay. So let's stitch our sunflower. Are we ready? We're gonna do some more satin stitch today. Legit dreaming of spring here. Seriously, like, oh my gosh. We are ready for spring. I keep seeing friends like in North Carolina and South Carolina and they're like 80-degree weather. And while I don't want it to be 80 degrees yet, the end of snow would be a welcome change. So, okay. I'm gonna use, my bright yellow is 726. The pastels is 3078. And let me get you flipped around here. Let's see. What do we want to do? I had to move things around yesterday because of where I was stitching. Okay. Yeah? No, I'm not gonna be able to stitch right there. Hold on. This hoop stand is in my way. Okay. So I'm gonna stitch with 4 strands, which I know is a weird number of strands, but it is what it is. I don't want it, I think 6 is too thick and I think 3 is not enough. So what I like with 6 strands is when you take out the 4, then you still have the 2. You can just double the 2 over in your needle and tie the 2 ends together and you are still working with 4. So it works out fine that way. But we're gonna do the petals first and then we'll do the center and the little greenery around it. Are we ready? Just tying a knot. Okay. So we're just gonna do like we've been doing. We're gonna start at the top and work our way to the center. And then when we're doing pointed petals, I just start moving down the petal right away. So with rounded, I like to do 2 right next to each other so that it looks a little bit more rounded. But with a pointed petal, we can just get started right away. And then once we get that bottom area filled, I usually do these first ones all straight and then I kind of start to, like this one is to the side a little bit. So you can kind of create those rounded edges. So I'm coming up at an angle and then I'm going down at an angle and that'll just help it a little bit so that it can be a little bit more rounded. And I nearly always will finish one side and then do the other side of the petal. Let's see, that might be turned a little too far, huh? And sometimes my sides end up with the same amount of stitches, and sometimes they don't. And I don't worry about it. If it's gonna bug you, then worry about it. But as for me, it does not bug me. So, petal 1. So anyone that's keeping track of my bagel making, it still hasn't happened. I got feeling overwhelmed and I decided not to bake. So I haven't done any baking yet. I didn't even feed my starter yesterday because I was like, just not feeling it. But maybe I will soon. I bought all this stuff today. Like I went and bought some jalapenos and some cheese and stuff. I'm just trying to decide because I'm taking my friend dinner tomorrow. And so I'm trying to decide if I should make some and take some with me to her. This is going to be another longer video because I have to finish these petals before, well, I guess I don't have to finish the petals to do the center. I'll finish half of them so that we're not here for another hour, hour and a half. Sunflowers are one of my favorites to stitch because I feel like you can do so many different things with the center and have it still look so cute. Plus, yellow is one of my least favorite colors, but a yellow flower is so cute. Simone, make it long. You want another long video? I mean, tomorrow is going to be fairly long as well. So there is that also. You guys just want a whole week of like the longest videos. Yesterday was really short, so I think when I uploaded it, I think it was like 13 minutes. I just feel like we are stitching together. We are stitching together. It's fun. I just wonder how many people are like, oh my gosh, get to the point. And sometimes I don't have things to talk about. Oh, I'll tell you. I was like 2 minutes late to this live because I was watching my friend that just had her baby. She got her birth video back, and so I was watching her birth video and was crying. I cry a lot. If you've ever met me in person, you've probably seen me cry. But birth videos always make me cry. I didn't get to finish it. There were still like 2 minutes and I was like, I gotta go start my video. So I had to wipe my tears and get on here, and then I'll go back and finish it. Ooh, keep going into next week. No, I won't be doing this next week. My kids are on spring break next week, so my house is not quiet at all when they are here. Oh, Simone and Diane cry with birth videos too. It's just like every birth is just like so incredible and like so exciting and so special. Like no matter what, it's always just like that miracle of life and like that power of giving birth. Like it's just gets me every single time. And I don't even care like what kind of birth. I'll watch all the videos. Home births or free births or hospital or cesarean, whatever. I will watch it and I will cry. Okay, so with these ones that are around the pink flower, so the point is kind of under this flower, so you could make it shorter and make your point start here, or you could just pretend like the point is under there and just do some straight stitches, which is what I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna come up kind of at an angle right next to that pink so that there's not a gap between, between the two. And just make this straight along this flower. Whoops, my needle fell off. Had my tail too short. I'm just gonna do one just to kind of taper that off a little bit. At this point, I should probably be stitching like through my camera screen, my phone screen, because I cannot see on this side. Okay. I think I might be able to do one more with this piece of thread. Maybe not the full thing though. I wonder if, I always feel weird going live on my other account. I don't know why. Like going live on my Stitch Along account like doesn't faze me at all. Like I don't think about it. I don't worry about it. Like I just hit live and I'm like, hey, here I am. But I've tried to go live on my other account and I always feel so silly. Like what am I doing on here? But I wonder if I should go live on here between stitch alongs and just show you what I'm working on. Or I guess I could do that on my other account, but it just feels weird. I kind of just ignore this page between stitch alongs. Just doesn't get a lot of attention. Lisa says it's not weird. I feel weird. That would be cool. Okay, maybe I'll do that. Sometimes like I just wanna, I'm a lot more productive if I'm recording because like I can't stop and scroll or whatever. Okay, so I've got my 2 in here and I've just folded it over all the way and then I'm tying the 2 ends together, so then I'm stitching with 4 strands still, and I can just finish off this this thread that I cut. So let's see what I can get done. I'm not gonna cut more yellow thread. So if I can't finish all these petals, which I doubt I'll be able to do with this piece, and then I'll just do the center. But I feel like people on this account kind of expect me to go to like see stitching versus like my other account feels like, I don't know, not everyone wants to see that. I don't know. I'll have to think about that some more. I love to see you work, then I am more productive too. We're all a little bit more productive when we have somebody working with us, right? We did that little stitching get together with some friends in October last year, and I did not get much stitching done, but it was fun to like see what everyone else was working on. That's when I was working on, were any of you there when I was stitching that like giant house? It was like the fabric size was like a 15 by 18 inch or something like that. It was huge. That's what I took with me to work on while I was on vacation with stitching friends. And I was like so burnt out from working on it. Yeah, I worked on that. It was like a month-long project, which is really, really long for me. To be like, I mean, that was just stitching. That wasn't like planning. That wasn't like, so much went into that house. I really want to do another one. I need a big giant one. I expect it on both accounts. I wish it was easier to express tone through typing. Yeah. Okay. Well, maybe I'll try it on my other account once in a while. I get nervous that people are going to be like, what is she doing? Big projects are rough for me. That house was amazing. Oh my gosh, that house was so fun. Big projects are really stressful because I've talked about it before, but like that ugly stage, like with this big pink flower, that ugly stage is really hard to get through. And like on a big project, you're in the ugly stage for a really long time. It takes a lot to like push past that and be like, okay, it's not going to be ugly forever. I just need to get past it. Like, it is so hard, but it was worth it. Okay, I'm going to tie this off. There's only 3 petals. I just will finish it. Hold on, I'm hooked around all of this. We could do a stitch along of the big house. It would be a great ongoing get together. So I have been, if anyone has any ideas, you can post them in the comments or message me after, but I have been trying to figure out a way to do a house stitch along. Other than like, I mean, I know we did like the haunted house, or we've done like the gingerbread house, but I would love to do like a house, like an actual house, like your own house stitch along, but I don't know how to do it. So here's my ideas. I would love to do like start to finish, like show you how to create your pattern, and then show you what stitches I would use for different parts of houses. But every house is so different that I wonder if it would just be like a big giant mess. You know what I mean? So anyways, and I also thought, I don't know that I want to do that on Instagram. So it might have to be like Zoom or Google Meet, or I don't know. if you guys have thoughts on that. Like, that is the most requested thing I get is, I want to do a house stitch along, but like, I don't know. Embroidery house or cross stitch. So I like to do houses on Aida because it has a grid, but I use a lot of embroidery stitches. When we did the haunted house, I did it on cotton, and that was the first house I've ever stitched on cotton because I wanted to be like, could I do houses on cotton? And I thought if it's kind of wonky, it's okay because it's a haunted house. But I didn't love how it turned out because I just felt, I mean, I love how the haunted house turned out, but I don't want to stitch houses on cotton because I just am not careful enough to make like super straight lines. And so, I like to do it on Aida. I've been using 28 count, so it's closer together. Like the holes are closer together. I would love that, learning how to do my own house. Yeah. I don't know. It's like been on my mind for so long and I just don't know how to make it happen. I need another piece of thread. Dang it. This was like a little scrap piece. Ugh, I lost a thread, chicken. I need like 2 more stitches. I mean, you could do more than one stitch along at different times, of course, but then you could have just various styles, colonial, rancher, maybe like that. And then we all have a collection of development of houses we stitched. Yeah. But I wonder if the time commitment would be worth it for the amount of people that join in. You know what I mean? So I thought about like creating my own house that has like brick and stone and siding and stucco. But then I'm stitching like a giant Mod Podge house. Like that might be weird too. Okay, I have one more little scrap that I think will be enough for this little half of a petal. Yeah. Like the process to do that, I don't know. But maybe it would have to be like a master class session. Like we would have class like once a week or something for like 6 weeks or I don't know. Do a fandom house like Gilmore Girls. So I've thought about that as well. But then like, what if people don't want to stitch Lorelei's house? And like her house doesn't have any stone or brick on it. So fandom, I love the idea of, but you have to kind of love that fandom to want to stitch it. You could do pre-recorded sections for things like siding, rocks, landscape. I would love to stitch my own house. So I've thought about that as well, but I really, really, really stink at pre-recording things. I really prefer to be live. So that's the other problem. I'm not trying to shoot down all your ideas. I hope you guys don't feel like you're like, she's asking for help and then she doesn't want to do any of it. I love your ideas and I so appreciate you sharing them. Yeah. Maybe do a castle like Hogwarts or Disney, but you can't call it that. Yeah, it would have to be like the castle stitch along. Yeah, I've thought about that as well. Okay. So let's pause on the house talk for a minute and let's talk about the center. So I am going to teach you how to do a basket weave center because I love a basket weave center on a flower. I think that it's so fetching cute and it's so fun. So that's what we're gonna do. If you don't love a basket weave center, or if you just don't feel like doing it, you could do French knots. I would do 6 strands, triple wrapped, and keep it loose. Or you could do smaller ones and keep them tighter or whatever you want to do. But this is what I recommend. 6 strands, triple wrapped, keep it loose. Or you could do a stem stitch and just go in circles. You could do a woven wagon wheel, which I haven't taught, but if you know how, you could do that. But I'm going to do a basket weave because I think that a basket weave on a sunflower is the cutest option. So I have 6 strands of brown. The dark or the bright color palette is 801. And the lighter color palette, the pastels, is 3862. And what we're going to do is make a basket weave. So what we're going to do is start at one end, whichever end you want, top, bottom, side, whatever. And we're going to do straight stitches across the middle. But unlike a satin stitch, these are not going to go right next to each other. We're going to leave a space so that we can weave around these when we do our vertical stitches. So I'm going to come down here. So I've left a pretty good gap. You can do them a little bit closer if you want. It makes weaving a little bit harder, but if you want to have them a little bit closer, you can. And we're just gonna stitch these across the center. Okay, so I like to hold mine and see, like if I don't want it to go down here because that's crooked, I want it to be here. And then I can be like, okay, that's where it's gonna go down, right under there. Whoops. Pull it snug. Okay, and then we're just gonna do that all the way across our center. All right, and then I like to leave a fairly large spot at the bottom. Well, not too big, I guess. Because we're gonna have to do stitches from here up to the top eventually. So I'm gonna come over on this side and do these to the top as well. Oof, that one was too close. I gotta take it out. Don't be scared to take out a stitch if it landed in the wrong spot. That's fine. And especially if you notice it like right away, just take it out. There we go. If this is the first time you've done this stitch, I might even say leave a little bit bigger gap than what I'm doing, because it gets real tight in there when we start weaving in our vertical stitches. Okay, so there is all of our horizontal lines. Now we're gonna go back and do our vertical lines. So I'm gonna do the same thing. I like to start in the middle and work my way out. So I'm gonna come up at the bottom and we're gonna make perpendicular lines. think that's the word, right? So what we're gonna do is go over, under, over, under. So this, you can go under, over, whatever way you wanna do. But I usually go over the top one and under the second one. So we're just gonna go under that one. And I am using my middle finger back here and pushing up on the fabric, same as what I was doing when I was doing a whipped back stitch. This is a pretty small area, so depending on the space, I will go under a few of them at a time and then pull my thread, but this is pretty small quarters. So I'm just gonna do one at a time. And then I'm gonna go over the next one and under the fourth, pull it, and then under and over. Under and over, or over and under, whatever. Every other one. So this one's over, under, over, under, over, under, over, under. Okay, and then we're just gonna pull it straight. We're gonna put it down where it is straight. And there's our first one. So then we're gonna come back down to the bottom and do it again, but we're gonna do it opposite. So I started with this first horizontal going over. So this one I have to go under. So under this one. And then over the next one and under the next. Just be careful. My thread is like it's like twirling. And then I kind of scoot these together before I put it down. Have any questions while I'm working on this about basket weave or about anything else? This one is a little bit time consuming because, again, you just don't want to snag all those stitches around it, and our thread kind of gets in the way. Whoops. Once I get here, sometimes I'll start to go and come down this side and then go back up and go up this side, depending on how I'm feeling. It's in my hoop stand, so that doesn't work for me, but if I was holding it in my hand, I might do that. Okay, so now we're moving up around the side of the circle. So you kind of just have to pay attention. Hold on. I got one thread that like pulled loose. Okay, so you have to look like this one. The last time I went under it, so I have to go over it, but we skipped that first one. Like that first one is done now, that first horizontal line. And once we start to get out to the outer edges, it gets harder to weave under these because the stitches are much tighter with all those threads wrapped around it. So keep that in mind while you're working. And if this is stressing you out, French knots are a very close second to a favorite for centers for sunflowers for me. And it's a really good opportunity to practice them. So don't feel like you have to do this. Okay, so now I need to kind of go down like right here. Let me zoom it in a little bit more. So I kind of need to go down like right here, but I should be going under this stitch. So what I'm gonna do is kind of come up at an angle under that stitch so that it still looks like it's part of the basket weave. Okay, let me zoom back out a little so it's not so blurry. And then I can keep going with what I was doing. So over and then under. My thread's getting twisted. It's not thrilled with me. Now that we're closer and I'm not like I can go through a couple of them. That's normally how I do it, is like a couple at a time and then pull it. But those other ones were feeling like it was too hard to do that. Okay, so this last one, I'm just gonna go over the top of it and then go down. And then you have to decide how far over do you wanna go. So I maybe could fit one more right there, but instead I'm just gonna, gonna kind of spread that thread out a little bit and just like fill that space. Kind of just fill it in, and then I don't have to try to sneak in like one more stitch over there. And then we can come over here and do the same thing. This side is a lot harder. I like need it at an angle, but then it's like you guys can't see. Hold on. Okay. I might have to take this out of the hoop stand for the other edge because my fingers don't want to go this way. But then I'm gonna run into the problem of being on top of my other stitches. I forgot to scoot them over before I put it down, but that's okay. You can still squish them. Look at that, whole bunch of them. All right, one more. Can it be done? I gotta turn this. See, I'm trying to go under that first one and I'm like right next to it and I have some fuzzy. Whoop. 6 strands for the brown. Yes. That side doesn't look as good. That's okay. Hold on. I have some of these strands that pulled through. Some of these tails are... Okay. Now, my edge is not great. So here's my trick. I'm gonna do a stem stitch, or you could do French knots if you want it, or do like a back stitch around it, but I don't want to do it with 6 strands because 6 strands is a lot. So let me tie this off, and then we are just gonna do an edge around that center, and then we will do the little twigs to the side, and then we'll call it done for today. Okay, so I'm going to use 3 strands for the edge of the center. I have 3 strands right here. I just need to put it in my needle. Whoop. And then we can just make that center look a little bit more polished. You could probably honestly use 6 strands, but I just don't want to. Okay. Okay, so we're gonna hold that loop out to the edge, come up in the middle, and then go forward a stitch and do the same thing. Keep our loop out. Come up in the middle. See how nice that just like cleans up the edge a little bit? Without like, it's not adding a bunch of bulk to the center. It's just like creating a nice finish. I feel like it's kind of sometimes hard to get like a nice, like if you want something especially like rounded or something like really straight, I feel like it's sometimes hard to get that. And so these like edging stitches help a lot to create like a nice finished feeling. For 45 minutes. Do we think we can finish before the hour? I don't know. I guess we'll find out. Goodness, come on. Okay. Look how cute. See, like a nice polished edge. Oh, so good. Okay, let me tie this off and we will do the little brown twigs that go with the sunflower. Okay, so we're gonna work on these two. So I have two different stitches for you, and you can pick which one you like the best. Oh my gosh, I'm working with 2 strands, not 3. That's funny. I thought I had 3. This is only 2 strands that I outlined that with. 3 would be fine too. Okay. I do want 3 for these twigs though, because that will be a little thicker. Hold on. I gotta re-thread my needle. Now, if you want to draw out like the V marks on this, so this is gonna look like this. If you want to draw those out, you can, if you haven't already. I like to freestyle it, so I'm not gonna draw mine. All right, so first we're gonna learn, oh my gosh, I always get them backwards. The fern stitch. Now I have to look it up, because last time I did this, I said it wrong in the video and I called it the wrong name the whole time. Hold on. I gotta get my book out. Because if I call the wrong name again, I'm gonna be so annoyed. And I always think that I have it right, and then I go back and listen and I'm like, oh, that was wrong. Fly stitch, 91. Okay. The fly stitch is all at once. The fern stitch is multiple stitches. Okay, so we're gonna do a fern stitch first. So a fern stitch is, each part of this is 1 stitch. So we're gonna stitch down to the bottom here, and then we're gonna stitch each little twig, each little branch of the twig, whatever. Okay, so this I think fern stitch, technically you're supposed to do it in a specific order, but essentially you're just stitching each part on its own. And no matter how you stitch it, I mean, it just turns out the way it turns out. This stitch takes a little bit longer than its partner in crime, the fly stitch. I'll show you that one in a moment. We gotta finish this first. Oops, that one's a little bit funny. Hold on, I've got a knot. Oh, I picked up some thread off my table. That was fun. All right, and then I like to just come up right next to those petals and do that last stitch. Okay, so there's a fern stitch. Let me tie this off and then we will do a fly stitch. I am going to turn this though, so it's like straight. All right, I gotta tie a new knot, hold on. All right, So a fly stitch looks very similar, but you do it all in like one stitch. So what we're gonna do is start at the top, and we're gonna do our first down stitch here. And then we're gonna come up on the edge, and instead of going down here, we're gonna come across and go down here to the top of our next one. We're gonna leave this loop open, come up at the bottom of this first stitch, and then pull it tight. So you create that V with one stitch, and then you tack it down by going into the next down stitch. So you've got A to B, C, D, E. So we've got our A to B, and then we're gonna go C, D, E, and then E becomes A, and we go down. So these ones are slightly more rounded. They're not quite as straight and sharp, but they're a lot faster, I think. And I like that they're a slightly softer V. Like this is like pretty sharp, but this is kind of a little bit softer, which I like. So that's the Fern stitch and the fly stitch. You can pick which one you do, or do one of each and see which one you like better. I like the fly stitch. Okay, friends, we're at nearly an hour. Let's zoom out and take a look. If you tacked it down like a lazy daisy, would it be straighter? Maybe. But then you'd still have to make that straight stitch to go to the next little branch. So like if you just tacked it down right there. Oh, let me zoom back in. So if you did your V and then you just tacked it down, you'd still have to go from here to here to create your next part of the branch. Or, I mean, you could do them just very close together. So just barely tack it down and then go over here and then tack it down here. But yeah, part of it is like to create that next space. That's why you tack it down a little bit further down. But yeah, possibly a little bit. I don't know. I mean, I have done that, like for, if I'm not going to do like a whole branch, because like where you're ending here, I mean, I just did a little bit of a stitch like to tack it down so it created the rest of that like stem. But I mean, you could do just one tiny one. Makes sense, just wondering. Yes. Good question, good question. Okay, friends, I'm going to let you go. Tomorrow we have all these little details. These ones are all going to be faster though. So we're going to do some little greeneries here, some little flowers, some more little greenery. We could have done these when we did these. I'm going to do these as pistol stitches again, but I didn't want to do them without doing the sunflower. So that's where we're at. Gorgeous basket weave. Thanks. I love basket weave. I'll do a close-up picture and put it in my stories so you can look at it because I don't feel like this video does it justice. It's so pretty. Anyways, let me know if you have questions and I will see you back tomorrow for our last day. Don't forget, I'll post it in my stories right now, but we're a little bit later tomorrow. I have my friend's kids on Fridays, so I will be live a little bit later tomorrow. So have a good one, and I will see you back. Bye.